This immediately raises several questions. Is the American flag emoji account actually Charlie's account? Why is it anonymous? Charlie had multiple Telegram accounts. Why? Did he have more than 2 accounts? And were all these Telegram accounts actually run by just him? Like not an employee of his? For example, it's now widely known that Andrew Colvett did most of Charlie's tweeting. Who ran Charlie's America Flag Telegram account? Was it even Charlie who sent the message about the left? Charlie didn't send that message. Who did? Shout out to Sam Parker. These are terrific questions. Andrew Wilson's hottest moment in his debate with Candace Owens. Obviously, it wasn't anything special. It was him reading off of a pre-approved script that I'm sure went under the watchful eye of Andrew Colvett and Erica Kirk before going out on the Candace Owens broadcast. But, he said something that in the opening seconds really kind of shocked me. And I don't want to say it completely shocked me because we'll get into it, but let me just show you the clip here. It's more than a little bit odd. Jimmy Dore put this video out from Dissident Media. Take a listen to what Andrew Colvett has to say about the now infamous text that Charlie Kirk reportedly sent to what we can assume was Dan Flood, compared to what Erica Kirk had said just a few months prior.
Charlie responded with this. Okay, great. Remind them that they are there for one person's security only, because I'm somewhat worried the left is trying to kill me. That was a message sent September 9th.
But he was not messaging people the day before saying, I'm going to be murdered. They're coming after me. Someone's going to kill me. He didn't say that. And I have his cell phone.
Charlie responded with this. Okay.
Didn't say that. And I have his, what a sniveling, snarky way she says that, only to be proven wrong by her own horse just a few months later. So obviously one of them is lying. I can't begin to tell you who it is. Maybe it's Andrew Wilson. Maybe it's Erica Kirk. I do have big questions, though, about this text message that Andrew Colvett is reciting here in the debate. I do have big questions about it. Candace Owens has big questions about it. Those questions were asked directly to Blake Neff and Andrew Colvett, who seemingly spend every single second of the day on Twitter defending the cover-up narrative that was concocted by the brightest minds at the FBI like Kash Patel. But seemingly they don't want to get into responding to the questions about whether or not this text is real. So let's break it down, because there's a lot of speculation that these texts that were kind of the hinge of the whole argument that Andrew Wilson came with. This was all his ammunition he used up in the first few seconds. He had to read it off of a note card because he's so low IQ. But let's actually take a look at this. So Village Crazy Lady writes, so Charlie Kirk messaged Dan Flood the night before he was murdered and specifically told Dan he was worried that the left was trying to kill him. And Dan Flood responded by lying about how many patrol units he had secured for the event the next day, and then setting Charlie up in a turkey shoot without a single one of his guys ever securing any of the buildings overlooking this open air event. And instead of firing and suing this worthless sack of shit into oblivion, Erica Kirk promoted him and gave him a raise. Do I have that right? This reminds me so much of the Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt against President Trump. In a normal world, if the president was shot in the ear, I mean, could you imagine just for a second if a president in any other nation was shot in the ear while giving a speech from a location that should have been secured, right, by a random kid, and everyone in the crowd saw that kid up on the roof?
I can't DM you on X because I don't have a verify and I'm not giving out my money to Elon Musk. But I have tagged you a post that exposes LDD bot farms being disconnected.
Very good, thank you. In a normal world, if something like that happened, the president would say, whoever was responsible for the security that day, you're gone. And we're going to investigate you. That's what a normal person would do. I mean, if not just to simply say, we're not going to let this happen again out of the fear of my own safety, right? But also, how weak does one look if you're a president? Someone tries to assassinate you, they get damn close, and you keep all the same security personnel around you? You don't do anything? No heads roll? Metaphorically speaking? Oh. Erica Kirk seems very happy that the job Dan Flood has done. And the job that Dan Flood did was a complete fail. Resulted in her husband getting murdered in front of millions of people all across the world, shot in the neck, maybe shot in the neck. I guess we don't definitively know that, right? There's a lot of questions about that as well. But whatever happened, she was happy with Dan Flood's performance. She effectively gave him a raise, right? He's head of security. What the hell is this? Now, Eric, thank you for the super chat.
Set aside the culture war, focus on class war first. We can discuss bathrooms after we defeat the oligarchy.
That's what all this is about. It's about regaining our sovereignty. It's about the class war. That's what it's all about. So the first few questions I had when I was looking at this, I was like, why did they blur out the profile? So they blurred out the profile of who was receiving this text from Charlie, whoever's name this was. And, well, yeah, I just kind of got to ask the question, like, why? Why is that? Why would you blur it out? Now, the second thing that immediately stood out to me was that Charlie's I guess his profile picture on this Telegram messaging is the American flag emoji. Like on Telegram, you can make your contact image. You can make it anything. You can just make it like an American flag emoji. You can make it 100 emojis if you want. But the weird thing that we're going to look at in a second here is that you all remember the now infamous text that he sent earlier on when he was talking about his donors and how he feels about Jewish donors. Well, his name was CK. It was Charlie Kirk back then. So what did he change? I mean, it's very possible he could have just changed his contact. But I did find that a little bit odd. But there's more stuff that we have to go through as well. So let's go through here. Verifiably impossible for that message thread to have a 6-month self-delete timer because that option does not exist for Signal, Telegram, or WhatsApp. It does appear as though these messages were sent on Telegram, but according to Claude, there's actually no 6-month timer. Again, maybe this was some weird thing that they were rolling out just for Charlie Kirk on his cell phone, but I happen to believe that there's actually just no 6-month timer. As of September 2025, Telegram's regular auto-delete topped out as 1 month, 24 hours, 1 week, or 1 month were the standing options for years. The up to a year custom range I found is tied to a 2026 Telegram 11.0 update. That means at the time this message was allegedly sent, no version of Telegram offered a 6-month auto-delete option either. That's a little bit odd too. Sam Parker put this out. Do inconsistencies in the Telegram messages revealed by Andrew Wilson indicate subterfuge? There's something questionable going on with the Charlie Kirk Telegram messages to Dan Flood that Andrew Wilson put out. Dual Telegram accounts, which already went over. But in one of them, I mean, obviously, he's talking about he feared for his life because of pro-Israel donors. He's talking about this is what that young man at InfoWars put out. Harrison Smith, he said that Charlie Kirk felt as though his life was at risk because of pro-Israel donors, Zionist donors, right?
This is how they operate. They can't win, so they're preparing the stage for a left-right civil war. Americans fighting against each other. This is what they want.
Exactly. And that's what Nick Fuentes is pushing. Sadly, that's still what Hassan Piker's pushing, but some of us are seeing through this. And then on 9/9/25, he also sent to someone that he feels the left is going to try to kill him. So could it be that he felt a little bit silly telling Dan Flood that he felt Israel was going to kill him? Yes, I do think that's a sincere possibility. Could it be that he didn't want to tell Dan Flood that he felt as though Israel was going to kill him because maybe he felt as though Dan Flood may be in on whatever sort of concerns he had about some conspiracy against him from pro-Israel lobbyists?
Dude can't believe all this BS they are trying to feed us. How's Margot doing?
Disco Phil, salute. Long time no see. We got all the OGs in the chat. What a night. Very good. So moving on here, this immediately raises several questions. Is the American flag emoji account actually Charlie's account? Why is it anonymous? If Charlie had multiple Telegram accounts, why? Did he have more than 2 accounts? And were all these Telegram accounts actually run by just him? Like not an employee of his. For example, it's now widely known that Andrew Colvett did most of Charlie's tweeting. Who ran Charlie's America Flag Telegram account? Was it even Charlie who sent the message about the left? If Charlie didn't send that message, who did? These are all really good questions. Shout out to Sam Parker. These are terrific questions. They're questions that I think deserve an immediate answer because, again, Andrew Wilson put out this whole thing, this whole kid and caboodle that this was, the smoking gun, no pun intended, evidence that he was, he was viewing overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson was guilty. And then he went on to say that by overwhelming, he meant 75%. 75% sure that Tyler Robinson was guilty and was the shooter. Also, I might add that AI, Grok, Claude, ChatGPT, they were all asked whether or not they think these text messages are real. They ran these images through various AI outputs. And by and large, they all came back and said, 80% sure that these are fake, 85% sure these are fake. Grok said 90% sure these are fake. So AI is more sure that these images are fake than Andrew Wilson is sure that Tyler Robinson is even the shooter. Let's tell you everything you need to know. So anyways, Candace Owens put out some just basic questions here. In response to these text messages finally being put up, because Andrew Wilson said that he wanted to slowly drip them out so he could make money on his YouTube show that no one would otherwise watch, she said, "Thank you, Andrew. I noticed TPUSA is unusually quiet when they are typically chronically online. Andrew Colvett and Blake Neff, since names are blacked out, may you guys kindly confirm these are real? Unedited messages from Charlie to Dan Flood. Thanks in advance." No response. Here's another. Why won't TPUSA acknowledge that the alleged text message leak from Charlie Kirk was to Dan Flood? Andrew Wilson is not party to the text messages as he did not know Charlie at all. Can Erica Kirk or Andrew Colvett confirm their authenticity? If not, the public is right to assume they are completely fake. Now, I love what she's doing here because remember how many times in that debate did Andrew Wilson say, well, actually, it's just very easy if you just go to these people and you just say, hey, TPOSA, I'm going to walk in the door one day and I'm just going to ask you in earnest about some questions I have and what's really going on here. They'll just be very kind and answer you. We've all been there. We've tried that. We've tried asking Blake Neff. We've tried asking Erica Kirk. We've tried asking Andrew Colvett these, I guess you could say, a little bit more difficult questions. And all we get is radio silence. So I guess maybe, Andrew Wilson, the questions that you've been asking the TPUSA family were not all that difficult to begin with. And maybe that's why you got the answers you did, because you're not really asking any stringent questions. You're asking softball questions that have no bearing on the gravity of the situation in actuality. I mean, it's just like nothing burgers that you presented. You didn't even know the 7 charges that Tyler Robinson is facing. You said that it's normal that bullets just explode in the middle of the air. That's not normal. Maybe I shouldn't question his authority on ballistics too much, because his wife did claim that he was an Army sniper and a gun expert. Although we've since learned that he was actually not an Army sniper, and he actually didn't see any combat in the U.S. military. And was he even in the U.S. military? I don't even think that guy was in the U.S. military. Maybe he was, but he definitely wasn't a sniper. So, the whole thing is crazy. I don't know. One's in the chat. Do you think that those text messages are real? Do you think that they're fake? The thing that I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, I'm like, even if they were real, there was a reason why. I guess you could see that maybe Charlie would have sent them to Dan Flood if he felt that Dan Flood was in on some conspiracy against him. You know, he didn't want Dan Flood to understand that he was fearful of an Israeli plot against him if that was the case. So he said, oh, I just think it's the left. Because on the same day, he was texting people saying that he feared for his life because of the Jewish donors and the Zionist lobby. Could be real, and that could all be, true in the case. Before you leave, I want to say thank you for the support, because after 2 years of being banned, we are finally back home on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and also join as a member on our channel using the link at the top of the description. I rely on the generous support of viewers like yourself to get the truth out to as many people as possible. You can also support the show on Locals or Give Sin Go. The mainstream media and the powers that be are never going to stop attacking us for bringing the truth to as many people as we do. Thank you so much for your support.